Hello, my people, it's Mansa. Don't be lazy, and this is 12-hour talks, where I give you some real speech on the way to do my 12-hour shift. It's currently 5:46 a.m. In a bit of a rush, but let's get straight into this. Now, there was a point a couple years ago where basically everyone my age was at a bit of a crossroads where they weren't really sure what they wanted to do with their lives. College had just started, and a lot of people, a lot of my peers, basically were getting kicked out of college. Or, on the other hand, people like me were still in college, but we knew that this was not what we wanted to do with our lives. We knew that we weren't going to uni. We knew that we weren't going to use this college education, but we were just there because what did they say? They say after college, after high school, you just go to college. Like, it's just kind of like the pipeline they put you on. Now, this was when I was about 16, 17. And when I was 17, I was the first guy to be able to drive. Like, even now, to be honest, a lot of people my age cannot drive. But I was driving at 17 years old. A lot of people my age who got kicked out of college, the route that they decided to take was basically trapping. You know what I mean? Selling. Like, I don't know if I can say the full thing on YouTube, but you know what trapping is. And that was something that basically a lot of people my age started to do. Even when we were younger, to be honest, they were already doing it. But this is when they basically went full time. When they basically left the houses, started going OT, going to countryside spots for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, coming back with a whole lot of money, new style, new drip. And since I was the first guy that could drive, I just do little favors for them. So let's say that they said they needed to drive from this place to another place. I didn't ask them why they needed to drive there. They're my boys. You get me? I'm just driving them because they're my boys and they'll pay me nicely. You get me? These men had more cash than anyone our age, way more cash. More cash than me. And I was doing delivery driving 5 days a week, tired. But obviously, these guys had way more cash. So they pay me nicely. A lot of the time, I do one drive for them and they literally pay me the same as my entire 5 hours of delivery driving. It's crazy to see this, right? And surely enough, after driving for them for weeks, months, and even having times where I basically like not live with them, but I basically experience the trapping lifestyle and basically like have like a 3, 4 days a week where I basically be in with them. You get me? Going to the bando, seeing the way they live, seeing the way that, bro, these guys literally have like maids, bro. They have like maids of basically, I'm trying to think of how I can say this in a YouTube friendly way. But they basically have, addicts who basically give them their house, right? They give the addicts some stuff and the addicts then basically rent out their houses to these people. And the addicts basically are like their slaves, bro. So the addicts, you get me, the addicts will come knock on the door and then they'll be like, yo, bro, get us this much water, get us skins, get us this, that, and the other, send them to the shop, they come back with everything. You get me? Like, I was seeing why and starting to understand why they like this lifestyle. However, when I first started getting offered stuff, when I was driving, and the guy beside me who was kind of like, you get me, one of the big guys in this, the guy who was sending a lot of people to go OT, and the guy that a lot of people were selling for, what he did was, right, there was a time where he was sat next to me and basically just pulled out a wad of cash. Must have been like eight to £10,000. Pulled it out and just started basically looking at it, like counting it. Yeah, he was basically just looking at me to see if I was eyeing up the money, which obviously I am. I'm 17 years old. I've never seen this much cash in my life, bro. The most I've made altogether, throughout like over a year of work on ghostwriting, I've made like £2,000 online. But I've never seen £10,000 in cash. And obviously, I'm money motivated. I have a money mindset, so I'm looking at it like, damn, what the hell? And he basically just says to me like, bro, this is what I gave to these two guys, right? Your peers, your friends. I gave this to them. I gave this to them because they went OT for me for 2 weeks. They went to the countryside, sold some stuff, and I gave them this. And you get me? He was like, bro, if you ever want to do something, cool. And as time went, he started to get a bit more pushy. Started to get a bit more calling my phone, like, yo, bro, like, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? Bro, drive me here, drive me here. There's some stories that I really want to tell, but I'm going to save them. Drop a comment if you want to hear them, but there's some crazy stories that I genuinely cannot even tell right now. I probably can't even tell on YouTube. Wallahi al-azim, there are stories that if I told on YouTube, that's the thing, I can't even say too much, bro. There are stories that is 5, 10 years of prison time, like crazy stories. But yeah, basically showing me this money, basically trying to get me to, get me to go into that side. However, the thing is, this was also around the time that Andrew Tate was popping off. Like, you're probably wondering, how does this relate to Andrew Tate? Andrew Tate was popping off, right? If you remember 2022, like around summertime, even a bit before that, you could not scroll TikTok without seeing Andrew Tate every like 1 or 2 scrolls. He was absolutely everywhere. And there was the type of people who watched him on TikTok, and then as soon as he got banned off TikTok, they basically just forgot about him. But then there's also the people who literally listened to him and were like, wow, this guy has something that I want. He has money, he has status, he has fame, he has girls, and he doesn't just have money in a vaporous way. He doesn't just have money to mess around with girls and that, but he's trying to have 20 sons, he's having children, and he's taking care of every single one of his children. He's being noble. So the people like that, and that was like my friendship group, right? There were the people who were trapping, who were like my peers, right? They were like a lot of them my cousins, but like they weren't the people that I chilled with every day. Like if I see them, I say yo, and I got a lot of love for them, bro, and they got a lot of love for me. They're still my guys, but they're not the guys that I chill with every day. The guys that I was chilling with every day were all like, bro, like, and this is the type of life that we want. Like we want to have complete freedom, and what Andrew Tate did was he basically increased the bar so high that nothing was really impressive, right? Before this, a lot of the people, what you'll do is you'll compare yourself to people your age. So that's why trapping seems like a great option, because if you're comparing yourself to people your age, trapping's not a bad option because you're gonna have way more cash than absolutely everyone in your age range. When you have two, three, four, £5,000 as a 16, 17-year-old, no other person your age has that. So with trapping, you're up there. However, I was comparing myself to Andrew Tate. So when I see this guy with £8,000 right there and he's offering me it, it's like, yeah, that's cool. But like I want that in an hour, bro. I don't want to go out for 2 weeks for that. And not only that, right? But one of my boys, my cousins, he told me what happened when he got arrested. And already the story's bad when they're breaking into your house basically and traumatizing your sister and your mum and your dad. They're basically traumatizing them by coming into your yard and grabbing you. But the thing that he told me that basically stung me and basically made me realize that there's no way that I'm doing this trapping stuff was when he's told me that the first thing they did when they came in was they grabbed his passport. They took his passport straight off him, bro. And that stung me differently, bro. That hit me differently because it's like the whole goal is freedom, bro. And you know what Andrew Tate is preaching is you need 10 passports. So if you only have one passport and the police come and take it, that's a very bad situation to be in. Remember when COVID happened and they said, bro, if you have a British passport, you cannot come into our country unless you have this vaccine, this vaccine, this vaccine. To avoid that, you need to have 3, 4, 5 passports. So if you only have one passport and they take it off you, that's peak, bro. That's absolutely peak. And I don't want to live in the UK. I'm here to get my qualifications, make my warehouse money and dip. I'm not here to live forever. So as soon as I heard that, it was like, is it really worth getting £10,000 for 2 weeks? But I'm at a risk of them grabbing my passport, of them messing up my family's life. It's not worth it. It's genuinely not worth it. And another thing is, obviously, since we're now not comparing ourselves to people my age, since I'm now comparing myself to 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, and I'm understanding because of Andrew Tate. And not only just that, right? Innately, as men, we know that we're all in competition. But Andrew Tate just put it in a concise, compendious way to be like, bro, you are competing with me. Like, it changed my mindset from seeing people on the TV and thinking, oh, look at those people on the TV. Every time I see a famous person or whatever, it's not like, oh, there's some special person. That's my competition. Like, I was seeing Andrew Tate as my competition. To this day, I see him as my competition. All the people you look up to, I see them as competition. So when I'm thinking, okay, cool, this 35-year-old man who literally has a $5 million car and 60 other cars and who knows how much Bitcoin, you get me, all these assets, that's my competition. If I lose my freedom now, I'm going to lose that competition by far. I now understood that, yo, I'm only 20 years old. I literally have like 10 years plus until I'm this guy's age. If I use this 10 years correctly, I can be in a way better position than him, bro. People are going to call me egomaniac. I know where you're going to be as rich as Andrew Tate, blah, blah. But that's all it is, bro. I see it's competition. And when he was 20 years old, he did not know all the stuff I know. When he was my age, he did not have the knowledge that I have. You know what I mean? So to now have 10 plus years to be able to build myself, it's like now I can build myself to another level and I know what's possible. So it changed the timeline. It changed the timeline from competing with people who are 20 years old and, you know, being flexing because you have the best car out of people your age, which is kind of cool. But it increased the bar to, bro, I'm competing with 30, 40, 50-year-olds. And the only way that I'm going to beat them is by being smart and understanding I need to be consistent over the next 10 years, not over the next 2 weeks. The next 10 years is what I need to be consistent over. I want you to visualize, right, your muscle, bro. This is a great visualization that basically made me gas for the future. You know when you get a pump? Yeah, look at yourself when you get a pump. Imagine your biceps after you get a pump. Now imagine every single year your biceps growing by that much. Just every year. So let's say it's this much. Visualize on your biceps, it grows this much, this much, this much, this much. Imagine 10 years of that. Let's say each year your bicep goes this much. Imagine 10 years of that, bro. Because you have 10 plus years until you're in your prime. 33 is the prime age of a man. So you need to figure out how you're going to get there by that time. right? You ain't got to do everything right now. Think you have a lot of time. But anyway, I'm about to pull up to work, so I need to end this one. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and remember there's a time and place for each emotional but laziness. Don't be lazy.